Welcome to Rev Up Your Business with Hilda Gan. We are now in season 5, and we've changed the name and the focus of the podcast. Rev Up Your Business is the podcast for small to medium-sized business owners, entrepreneurs, and HR professionals. Each week, we share tips, strategies, and trends on how you can build success in your business. I share my expertise as a people-centric leader in work culture and human resources. My guests share their expertise in human resources, marketing, sales, finance, IT, leadership, and the multiple facets that you need to take care of your business. If you love to learn and want to find out how you can rev up your business, join us. Welcome to another episode of Rev Up Your Business. Today, our focus is on the power of relationship marketing. And I have with me here today, Barbara Mowat. Barbara Mowat is an international leader in the development of SME enterprises, and she's created uniquely programs that assisted over 12,000 entrepreneurs access increased markets. A national magazine called Home Business Report, working for people working from homes in the early 90s, a retail store and an e-commerce site supporting small businesses. And from Abbotsford to Zanzibar, she's worked and facilitated WBOs throughout Canada, Southeast Asia, USA, South America, Europe, Afghanistan, India, and Africa. She is internationally connected, this woman. She continues to be passionate about fostering the economic growth of women all over the world by starting and providing GroYourBiz, which is a membership organization offering monthly peer business advisory groups for WBOs who want to take their business to the next growth level. Barbara also created and produced the EXCELerate Conferences, which initiated the We Empower UN SDG Challenge, where GroYourBiz is a lead sponsor. Barbara has been broadly recognized for her contributions and numerous achievements, including among many, winner of the Canadian Woman Entrepreneur of the Year Award for impact on the local economy. The Governor General's Award in commemoration of the Person's Case, recognizing outstanding individuals who have helped in advance equality for women and girls in Canada. The recipient of the TIAW Global World of Difference Awards for the advancement of women economic and social empowerment. And Vancouver's YWCA Women of Distinction for the coveted Connecting the Community Award. Barbara is an amazing, amazing person who loves to connect people and has done it not just on the Canadian stage, but on the international stage. I am delighted to have Barbara, and we are going to focus on the power of relationship marketing. That was quite the introduction, but I had to share what you have done for women entrepreneurs over the many decades. Just so proud to have you on today, Barbara.
Thank you so much, Hilda. And it's always interesting when someone else reads the bio and I go, oh, I did do that. I did do that. Anyway, thank you so much for having me. And it's a delight to be with you for the next 45, 50 minutes.
I'm wondering if we can start. We're talking about relationship marketing, and that's been in your DNA. Tell us, what is relationship marketing and some of those tips and strategies?
Thank you. So when I left, I spent 15 years of teaching. I was an educator. I taught everything from elementary, junior high, high school, university studies. I taught graduate studies at University of British Columbia. After 15 years, it was like another friend of mine said, let's leave the university and start a business. And so for me, it was like, wow, could I do this? And given that I had run a boarding home at age 14, I thought, yeah, I could do this. Let me start a business. And I was giving up. People said, Mowat, get a brain. I was giving up $68,000 salary. This is in the 70s. And it was like, okay, 2 months off every year because of 1 month is PD, the other part is holiday. And so I had to understand what is the new consumer. And it's interesting because one of the books I picked up just recently, and Hilda, you might remember this, it was Faith Popcorn, the Popcorn Report. She was a futurist. And I remember her saying these words, and it's a phrase I still use, and I want to share it with the audience to remind them that it doesn't, all of us are trying to grow a business. That means we're trying to sell our product or our service. We're trying to do something that might be different. And she always, I remember this quote. She says, ask not what your consumer can do for you, but what you can do for your consumer. And that really struck me. And I realized that, the new consumer today, and I think this is very true, might have been before too, but it's now, the consumer today is more value oriented. They're studious and conservative about shopping for bargains as long as quality does not have to be sacrificed. They're more informed and they're more educated, I believe. Consumers have not lost their demand for their goods and or services. They still are willing to pay for quality and reliability. So all of us who are in business, it's important that we build those relationships. It's important that we all begin to see that, look, this is the decade of the consumer, of the customer. Let's concentrate on that. And because I can't be I'll use this word, because I can't be a phony, I only like to do businesses with people I like. And I always use this phrase too. If you're in a small community and there's only one dentist, for example, and the one dentist is arrogant, he just wants your money and you don't feel good about him, right? Or her. And so it's like, I have to go because I can't get my teeth done, right? I got to get my teeth. So you choose that person because there's no alternative. Well, as soon as somebody else comes in, you probably leave that dentist and go to the new person because you're tired. So that ties into relationship marketing. And so I would say that enterprising women are all, and I'm sure that's who is your audience today. They're dedicated to they're dedicated to reaching out to help each other, that are going to take a look at complementary needs or complementary common interests. So when I started my business and I was doing, and you mentioned the international work, I went, oh my gosh, this is daunting. I can't possibly do all this by myself. So then I had to say, well, who can I collaborate with? People used to say, oh, well, you put the team together. No, you don't have to do it all yourself. So part of it is, who do you want to form an alliance with or a strategic partner with? What are your but first of all, you have to take a look at what are your weaknesses and strengths. So Hilda, my weakness is you're doing a podcast. I haven't done a podcast. It's like, oh my God, how does she do this? What tech is she using? So I would come to you possibly and say, there's about 3 or 4 people I'd like to have a podcast with. I'm not going to start my own podcast. I'm going to probably go to someone like you. That's your strength. That's my weakness. So you always want to be sensitive to input from others when you meet them. I'll share a little bit more about what I see as characteristics of successful relationships and how do you build and keep those relationships. I think, Hilda, if I'm correct, you just saw my year-end review where I showed where I was going in just about every month. And when I looked at those photos that I took and the people that I met, I realized these are contacts. These are mainly women that I have known for 40 years. How am I still in touch with them? How am I still working with them? And it's because we formed an alliance, we formed a collaboration, we formed a partnership. And so it's always being sensitive to the input from others. Well, what's your business doing now? Where are you at? Always be sensitive to that. So it's about negotiating, cooperating, coordinating, collaborating, establishing partnerships that are always win-win.
I can, like, my husband and I started our business in the 90s, and I still stay connected with so many people. And I remember that time when we were up at I think it was Huckley Valley, or was it was at one of our events, and the joy that you had seeing, it was Huckley Valley, wasn't it? Joy that you had seeing some of your key people that had been with you in your early 20s, 30s, and that
Yeah.
those relationships still lasted all that time. And I think, wow, that is so powerful. And when I think back on our company, we had our accountant, our lawyer, and our financial planner. And every
Yeah.
time we wanted to do something that required us to think strategically for the future, when we started shareholders agreements with our staff, when we did something that was going to impact our business, the three of them were invited to have dinner with us and talk about what this means. And now, fast forward, I still have that accountant in my fourth company that I've started. My lawyer's retired now, but my financial planner has been the one that has helped us future proof our retirement. And when we retire, it's going to be with her ability to connect us with the right peace of mind or the right financial advice and stuff. So I know, and I've seen it, your heart just bubbles over when you saw the people that you've stayed connected with all those years.
And I think that that's very true. And so it's about, we cannot impose our own ideas all the time. It's about them. So it's when you're with them, you want to keep your, it's like, yes, I want to share what I'm doing, but it's also keeping your practical energy, I call it, keeping your ears and your eyes open. What are they doing? Give them their accolades. If you see, what we always do, the happy birthdays, but even beyond that, just keep in touch with them, keep on keeping on kind of thing, right?
Hmm.
And so uh, I think that using your own intuition is really important. Do you ever get, Hilda, that feeling that, I haven't talked to that person in a long time and there's something, uh, do you get that feeling inside you that something's up and you just need to reach out to them?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's, pick up the phone and contact them. And I say phone because I think there is, well, you can tell I'm not a tech person, and I like seeing people in person. And that's what I'm struggling with, is that home. I was the one that talked about starting your home-based business and the benefits of working from home, but there's a very important part about definitely networking and continuing to meet with people. And that to me is, you need to be plugged in. You need to be everywhere. People need to see each other. And I know there's something called Fever now, or Fiverr. I'm not even sure what it is. It's like being
Fiverr, Fiverr.
right.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, I get that. And yet I'm enjoying being at home base, but I also want the contact.
But
So for me, that's part of relationship marketing, is being with people.
and I'm one of those relationship builders too. Like during People Bright, this fourth iteration of my entrepreneurial journey, really celebrated its seventh anniversary this month. And
Yeah,
one of the things, I was really on a high pre-COVID. I was networking with people and getting business. It was just coming so easily. And then COVID hit, and
yeah,
then we were all
yeah,
connecting, but we were connecting to Zoom. And the joy once we started to network again, Oh, the energy in the room, seeing people we haven't seen for years, or seeing people
Yeah.
for the first time, but you feel so connected because at least we had Zoom. But that is the joy of really relationship marketing, is that physical connection, the energy you feel when you're in a room with people that you know, like, and trust, and you're supporting
Yeah.
each other. Yeah.
And to operate on those hunches within you. It's like, you know what? It's time to close my office door and join people for some luncheons or from any kind of networking, right? So that's what I mean. Continue to network. Yes, virtually, but do in person as well. Continue to be plugged in. And I can't say that enough. I think that wasn't it Henry Ford who said the quote, coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success. Remember that old quote of Henry Ford? And it's true.
Hmm.
It's sort of like what I need to do is to get up there. And so, and that's why for many of the Grow Your Biz advisory boards right now, I'm I know that they loved the fact that we kept them up during COVID because we were able to connect virtually. But then when we were ready to go back to in person, some of them said, gee, I don't have to pay for the parking if I go downtown Toronto or Vancouver. Oh, I really like working from my home. And then that lasted about 2 or 3 months. And then it was like, now I think I want to do. So we've come up with and again you listen, right? The practical energy. So what is it that you're looking for? They went, well, there's parts of virtual that we really like because if it's been a long day and I don't want to have to drive back into the city or whatever it might be. So can we do a compromise? And that's really the hybrid that is coming out now. So the hybrid is, hey, it was lovely to see you in Toronto in November, right? It's like, what do we do to still connect, but we can do this? I mean, this podcast is great. You and I are talking as if we're in the same room, right? It's
Yes.
like I could reach
I'd
over and
rather be
touch you.
where you are at the ski slopes behind you than where I am.
That's too funny. Okay, well, I get it. But that's what I mean.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah, yeah.
sometimes we have, so I think in many cases we're compromising. We're saying let's have 3 meetings virtually and then let's get together for lunch, even if it's a social. It doesn't have to be a meeting. We can have our meetings virtual, but let's have our socials where we just touch and feel and talk and hug each other and do whatever we have to do. Bring stuff to show each other.
I like how you referred to that when we first started coming out of, like, COVID, and we said, let's meet. And people said, we got so used to, we just have to be there 5 minutes beforehand, and 1 hour later we're done. Whereas when you make an effort and you have to go somewhere, it's a 4 hour deal rather than a 1 hour and 15-minute deal. And we would grumble at first, but then once we did it once, we said, okay, maybe we can do it in 2 more months. And so now we're back into that groove of going out, but we still like this, what you call that hybrid model. Sometimes we will have our convenience and connect, but other times we need that physical energy that rejuvenates us, that reconnects us in a way that Zoom doesn't. Like, I remember when we had board meetings, and you would almost instinctively know when you had to turn to John or Susan because they were going to say something. You didn't hear them say it, you just knew. And it's that energy in the room that you can't replicate in Zoom, because you never know. Sometimes the person's staring off, it's because they're reading the slides that are on an extended screen, not because they're doing something else. Or maybe they are, maybe they're checking their email at the same time. But in a room, you can feel instinctively what you should be doing.
Yes. And so to me, even online though, it's about relationship building.
It is.
So first, you want to always do, what's the word? You want to keep your ears and your eyes open rather than your mouth. Like, just what is that person saying? How are they looking? How are they feeling? How are they, right? So that's the practical energy that we all learn. And I think that um, I'll share this one that is my pet peeve. And that is when I'm in a large meeting with a lot of people, I get annoyed when you know instinctively that you're talking to them, but they're looking around the room to see, well, who can I go to next, or who's better over there, whatever. And I look at that and I go, I wouldn't want to build a relationship with him or her in a long term. So you go with your gut, you go with your instincts. And I'm pleased to say that over 40 years I've kept several well, even before that, even relationships from high school days. We're still there. We're still there for each other. So it's
All
important.
about
That's
that
what I'm doing.
relationship.
Yeah.
Now, we've kind of alluded to it, both in the introduction and we just mentioned it a few minutes ago. Grow your biz. And Grow Your Biz, we said, was a peer-to-peer relationship board. So and let me ask you, what year did you start Grow Your Biz?
In 2010. So what had happened is I actually started peer groups in the 90s, but that was more in Africa and places where women would come together and they needed a loan. So we would say, well, you give up your mattress for $30, and when you bring the mattress back. So we kind of did an informal peer grouping. And then when Women Presidents Organization kept on calling me in November 2007, and they said, we would like you to start a WPO. And I went, I don't work with multi-million-dollar women. I work with small businesses. I work with micro businesses. That was my passion. That's why I was in, India and Afghanistan, etc. It was always that. So I'm saying that because I did build 3 boards of WPO in Vancouver from 207 to 210. And women were calling me and saying, we want to belong. And I'd have to ask them, unless I was a contractor, I'd have to say, what's your revenue? And they'd say, my revenue, because WPO is $1 million.
Yeah.
You have to be $1 million. And they could be 900,000, they could be 200,000. And I went, but peer groups are not about revenue. It's about, where do you as a business want to take your business? What's the next growth level for you, whatever that might mean for you? Do you want to grow it so you can sell your business, so you can get a joint venture with someone, that you want to go into different territories, areas, etc.? So all of a sudden it was like, you know what? Peer to peer groups for women, like-minded business women, guided by a professional facilitator or facilitator chair, is important because we help each other. We help each other because we listen to each other. That's, again, the relationship marketing. It's not about me, me, me. It's about you, you, you. And it's like, so it's not a networking group per se, but rather a high level group of savvy business women who are presidents and owners of their own companies. And every month, they bring their challenges. What's your current challenge? What's your current block from preventing you? And it could be anything. Our mutual friend, Hilda Maritachi, who's my managing director for Grow Your Biz, she always says, it's people and money. Those are usually the first 2 big challenges. And it's true. Human resources and financial. Those are main topics that always come up. Cash flow problems, wanting to expand, don't have enough money, afraid to go to the bank, whatever it might mean, right? So that's what peer groups do for each other, is that women come together every month and they share what their current challenge is. And the most important thing that happens at one of those meetings is they have to state, yes, this is my challenge. And so it's like, Hilda, what's your accountability then for next month?
Yeah.
So monthly meetings, accountability, right? If you're working alone, solo, who are you accountable to?
I asked the date, the year, because I want to
Mm,
point out that nowadays there are not
right.
maybe, there are, nowadays there are so many different women's groups, and many of them are networking to connect and to see if we can possibly support each other. But we're talking 2010, 14 years ago. You came up with
Mhm.
this idea. There were very few women support groups out there. And what I think sets Grow Your Biz apart is that it's more than just networking. It is
Yeah.
really, I think the way you coin it, peer to peer advisory board. Because I was chair, as you know, in Markham, Richmond Hill for 5 years almost. And every week we talked, or month, every month we would talk about what were your high points, what are your challenges, and hold them accountable. But you can't do that in a general networking because we're always trying to make it look like we're growing and we're doing well. Very often we can't say, I had a crummy month, and this is why. And because we're intimately knowing each other and trusting each other, we can share these kinds of things. So I think this distinction of what Grow Your Biz has done since 2010 and continues to do.
And thank you. You were an excellent chair facilitator,
Thank
and
you.
that's what it takes. I really believe that um, the chair, the facilitator, is the secret sauce because you have to keep it going. You don't let one vendor monopolize unless they're dealing with a very serious issue. Then
Right.
yes, then the chair says, "Hey, let's focus on Barbara's needs right now."
Yeah. Yeah.
So really, a peer-to-peer advisory board helps us become a better leader, make better decisions, and achieve better results. And that's the whole purpose. And you mentioned also, I just want to say, you and your husband had your lawyer, your accountant, they're still with you. There is a difference between a board of directors and a board and an advisory board. So you still need to have your, it's like uh, advisory boards are like having an informal board of directors, right? So that's not replacing your independent lawyer, your independent accountant, the people that we definitely need that's
Yeah.
going to really look at our financials and say, no, 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 no. Right now, that's not the monthly bit. And you don't have monthly meetings with them. You probably have a quarterly meeting or a year end meeting with those people. So I always try to make sure that people understand when I say it's having like an informal board of directors that are going to um, point out things to you that you may not want to hear. But that's when you share your challenges. And it's not about, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's like when I had that problem or that challenge, here's what I remember I had to do. It may not work for you, but this is what worked for me. So your you're sharing similar issues and challenges. And that's really important.
One of the things that just popped into my brain was, like, in the advisory board, you can't have duplicates. You can't have two people in HR or two people in marketing. And this person came to as a guest to see, and she was in a woman's aesthetics industry, and she said, well, why would I want to join? I should be with a bunch of other women estheticians so I know what's happening. And the point we tried to make was, sometimes you get your best ideas from other industries that you say, hey, that's going to fit right in here, and it's actually going to be better for me to use that idea. And then the last thing you do is, you don't want to be sharing the not so good things that are happening with your what you think is your competitors. So there's a win-win situation when you're sharing ideas from different industries, and they could be complementary. Like, you need somebody who's got an HR background or a marketing background, or who has trauma relief counseling, because that may help you help your business or yourself if you need those services. So there's some win-win situations here.
However, I am going to throw in something that I only found out when we started becoming virtual and hybrids. And so because we have I totally agree with you. In a local community, you don't want two people
Mhm.
from HR in the same group. However, I'll just give one very concrete example. So I have a hair salon that's in Victoria, BC, and there might be a hair salon as a member in Toronto.
Right.
So they can, because that's part of it. We connect people from all over, right? It's the connections that way. It's like, oh, who else has a hair salon? They might be, I want to know what their issue is. So you're not competitive in that way.
Yeah.
And so it could be something like, and this was a real example, is like, okay, I have hair salons are really, last minute cancellations, it's hard to fill. So it's like, hey, how do you fill a last minute cancellation? And you start learning from each other. So
Yeah.
that's where the similar industries, if they are in different communities and different areas, it can work. So that's building the team.
And I'll add to that, like whenever I go to various networking things, I don't see people who are in HR as competitors because we
Yeah.
we gravitate to people we feel connected to. So somebody may say, I want to work with Hilda because they may want to
Yeah.
work with John because of a different reason. And that's the best fit for him, for that owner. It's about finding the right people that connect with you and have that same mission, vision, and values, like minds. I find I gravitate now to people who really are service oriented, who want to help people.
Yeah.
This is my
Yeah.
community. This is my kind. So I don't care if there are 5 HR people or, 20 insurance. You will find the right person for you. So I think it behooves us to get to know people who are in our similar field and support each other. Hey, John, you may find my service is not quite the right fit, but I think I know who might do a good job for you, and introduce you to somebody else who happens to be a colleague in the same field. So there's nothing to be said that should concern people about that. I'm wondering if you should.
No, I was just going to say, you just made my point about that is perfect relationship marketing example. Thank you, Hilda. That's exactly it.
Well, this is the power of relationship marketing and us kind
Really
of sharing helps
collaborating.
people.
Yeah, collaborating and saying, well, I can't do that, but I think you could do a better job in that HR area.
Yeah.
That's
I know that
happens.
you're coming up with EXCELerate 2024, and I'm very excited about going because it's been a few years since pre-COVID. I don't know if you've done one since COVID. Is this the first one since
Well,
COVID?
we did the virtual one in 20 because that was all scheduled to. So in May 2020, we were going to do the in person. COVID came March the 11th, 2020.
Right.
I had hotel booked, speakers booked. I went, what am I going to do? There was a cost. So I changed it. It was my first global virtual in 2021, and I had to change the format, etc. So now I back to in person.
Okay.
So
So
this is my fourth one.
we
This is a
digress
fourth
a little. Tell us about EXCELerate 2024 and the whole EXCELerate conferences that you've done over the years.
So I think we have a reputation of it being not just an ordinary business conference, but really more of a thought leadership. We want to bring together people that are visionaries, thought leaders, disruptors, activists, etc. I want to know what's the latest trend. So we usually have 4 themes. Yes, leadership development, business growth, global competitiveness. But the other one that we really want to focus on is mega trends. And it is important to say that because in 2015, we talked about We Empower UN SDG Challenge, which you mentioned. People did not understand what SDGs were. And at that conference, I brought the president, no, the executive director for all of United Nations, and he was stunned that so many women were involved in an SDG and didn't even know it, Sustainable Development Goals. At that time, it was only the very few, end poverty by 2000, et cetera, et cetera. And now there's 17 SDG goals, and it's a very vibrant program, which I hope I have a few minutes to talk about at the end. But really, what we're trying to do at EXCELerate is to significantly have impact and increase economic empowerment for women. So it is very similar goals as Grow Your Biz. How do I take my business to the next level? But it is about connecting. And I know a lot of members like to hear the word network. So yeah, connecting, networking, the same thing with diverse business leaders, both nationally and globally. I have a lot of global speakers, including corporate and government representatives. I want to focus on how will you learn new strategies, new solutions that tackle those key issues that you're just not able to figure. Well, what is somebody in the UK doing? What is somebody in Africa doing? What is somebody in whatever it might be in the US or other provinces or other territories? So it is about building business contacts as well with like-minded entrepreneurs, but to stay very current on industry trends, because that's about innovative thinking in every sector. And I'm pleased, Hilda, that you and Laurel are doing a very innovative session. And maybe you can say something about yours coming up, because that's what it's about. It's like, no, Barb, we're doing something different now. And the two of you came together and said, what can we create?
Yeah. Yeah. I, I just have these great feelings when I think about EXCELerate. I've been to at least two in the past, and I was at that one where the person from the UN, it opens your mind to the world, what's happening in the world. You're not about same old, same old. You're about helping us grow and to think about how the future is growing. And Laurel and I are just excited that we'll be speaking, because we have created something we think are going to help women really grow. And so we called it Unleash Your Leadership Power, because we're not just about same old, same old. This is how you get more confidence. We've come up with two science-based tools that we've discovered will really give people an objective, scientific-based understanding of what their superpowers are, where they shine. We talked about earlier about what are you really good at, what aren't you? And so this is going to be sharing those systems and our philosophy of how do you unleash with confidence your power. So, and when I look at the lineup, it's just amazing. A lot of people are forward thinking. These are thought leaders. These aren't just, oh, come and speak and just share what's going on. It's what you need to move the bar of your business, of your thinking for the future. And that's what I've always loved about your EXCELerate conferences. They move our mindset towards a growth pattern. And I do love the networking. You said it's about networking, because there are so many women that you're going to meet there who are so excited and have a mindset of connecting with others for good. And so, yes, I'm happy.
That's a great commercial for me. I love you for saying that, because it is true. So, even our plenary session, encouraging a sustainable future. I want people to learn how to invest in new technologies, strategies for that green planet. You're doing it from a human resource relationship. It's like, what are the tools and technologies that you and Laurel have come up with? How can you share those strategies? Because we all have to identify new techniques, new ways, but practical too, right? So it's about practical ways in which we can come up with those strategies and solutions. It was interesting because I looked back when you said the 2015, I looked back at, and I hope you don't mind me reading a couple of these, but the testimonials, you just gave a great one, thank you. But testimonials from Grow Your Biz members who attended at 2015 and then are still a member and are coming again. And it's like, there was one from very, top person who said, there is no question that this was once again one of the most captivating conferences that I have attended. with not only one good idea, but many. It is wonderful how the panels all have different viewpoints that foster challenging, perhaps our previous opinions, or at the very least, give us more information to have an informed opinion. Our team thought it was time well spent indeed. And I like that last word about our team, because it's not just about sometimes the owner coming, the head person coming, but bring their team. Because when you listen together as a team, you build a better business, because everybody's hearing it, everybody's on the same page. And so I needed to, it's like, yeah, what did you? So again, one person said, well, no, I don't believe in that. And then they come and they listen to the other people that are saying things in a different way. What have they taken away? So it's supposed to be challenging your mindset, right?
Yeah.
So it isn't the normal, as you said, it's not the normal business where I will go and learn some accounting skills. No, it's not.
Yeah. I can recall too the one where there was a panel of Indigenous women who had basically were in the residential schools, and they turned that residential school into a I can't remember if it was a casino or a school, some other kind of thing. And they said, imagine us, we were in the school and now look at, we're business women. And so much I learned and respected the journey that they had to get to where they were. So there was so much learning for me. And this is 2015 is a time when DEI was not a popular topic. It was just in its infancy, which many people ignored. And today it's more, in the mainstream. So this is thought leadership. This is moving where we should be going. And that's why, definitely whether I was going to be speaking or not, I was signed up. I paid my $100 to make sure I was reserved for a spot to attend this year's session. Can you tell us more how people can get a hold of registration and?
Well, I always forget about that part because I should be better at sales and marketing. No, it is www.EXCELerate.a with an E though, EXCELERATE 2024.com/tickets. Now, on February 29th, our early bird lasts until 2029 or February 29. I always forget it's leap year. And it is $750 or $650 with the $100 off. But Hilda, I have provided you with a code that if you are able to send that out, there are people can get a discount of another 20% off. That's $650, so it brings it down. And if you're a Grow Your Biz member, it's a different value as well. And it's all on the website. So if you just go to EXCELerate2024.com/tickets, you'll see all the different levels of fees according to what and who you are. And so you get a great.
I can share my code here, right here, for those people.
You.
We are airing this on the 27th, so you need to act quickly. But if you type in the promo code Hilda20, so HILDA 20, and it's a lowercase h in case it's case sensitive, you will get a 20% discount off that code, off the early bird price.
And I don't think it's case sensitive, so it could be Hilda capitals or Hilda small, but I thank you because that's what it's about. Please, it's about building a community, and that's what I hope to have. And given that many of the people that came at 2015, 2017, 2021, they're coming again because they know that I have new speakers, new mega trends, new leadership development, and we have amazing. I mean, I don't think Dion Laszlo Baker will mind me sharing this one. She came in 2015 to the conference. She was just starting her business and literally with nothing. And this year she's coming again. She was nominated for being one of the 50 fastest growing companies, honored at WPO, honored at Grow Your Biz. She's still a Grow Your Biz member too. She does both, um, only because of loyalty to me, I'm sure. And she grew her business. Again, this is on the news. She grew her business to 80 million. So in 2015, she was zero. She's now 80 million. So she is going to be a speaker on how do you grow a business for the global trade, for internationally. So you're going to learn from her. What did she do? What were her struggles? What were her challenges? And that's what I do also appreciate, is that women like you, Hilda and Laura, you're not afraid to share. These were my challenges. This is how I had to deal with them. This is how whatever method you used. Did you have a peer group? Who did you talk to? How did you do it? Did you use some of the government programs? It doesn't matter, but people share. And that's the whole purpose of relationship marketing, is how do you share? How do you open your heart to say, yeah, I remember having that problem, and really make sure that you um, provide that information to the next. You know what? It's not a hands out; it's a hands up.
I love that saying. Now, how do people get a hold of you?
I would say the best way is my name, Barbara, Barbara, Mowat, M as in mother, O as in Oscar, W, water, apple, Tom, at GroYourBiz.com without the W. So it's GroYourBiz.com. Or if they want, they can contact me directly. I do not mind taking phone calls. 604-644-8298. And of course, I'm not on all the social media platforms. My favorite is LinkedIn. I'm not so good at Facebook and Instagram, and Meta, I think it is. I did go off of Twitter. I did go off of Twitter only because I didn't like what Elon Musk was doing. So there you go. Share my values there.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you here, Barbara. Your love and your passion for helping women entrepreneurs grow to the next level has been evident for much of your career, and to do it not just for Canadian women, but women all around the world. And I'm so glad that people recognize you for your accolades, and you just shared some of them I just shared some of them in the introduction. So thank you very much for spending your time telling us about relationship marketing, Grow Your Biz, and the fabulous EXCELerate 2024 conference, which I can't wait to go to in April.
Thank you. God bless you.
And for those of you who have listened, give it a thumbs up. And if you're interested in subscribing, I have such wonderful guests that really share how you can grow your biz. So rev up your business, stay connected, and see you next time. Thanks. Thank you for tuning in to Rev Up Your Business with Hilda Gan. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast on YouTube and Spotify to stay up to date with all of our latest episodes. For more HR tips, strategies, and to learn how you can create a people-centric workplace, visit our website at peoplebrightconsulting.com.